Hi guys, it's Megan with Vigilante Vibes, and I am coming to you with another breakdown of a Marvel character from the comics, and one I think we're all very involved with, but with Fantastic Four First Steps coming, well, what better time is it to talk about the Fantastic Four members, the Marvel's first family. So we're going to be starting with Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, and I hope you learned something, or at least I hope you like what I have to say. So let's talk about who Eben Moss Backrack is playing. Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, is a founding member of the Fantastic Four and first appeared in Fantastic Four #1 in 1961. Ben Grimm is the original tough guy of the Marvel Universe. But underneath all that muscle and attitude, he's also the most tragic member of the Fantastic Four. He used to be a top-notch test pilot, but after getting hit with cosmic radiation after that spaceflight, he was turned into a rock-skinned powerhouse. His body's tougher than stone, which makes him seem rough and grumpy on the outside, but deep down, he's got a heart of gold. Ben Grimm grew up tough on the rough streets of New York's Yancey Street. He was a bit rough around the edges, but had a good heart, and his way out of that life came through a football scholarship. While attending Empire State University, he became best friends with a young genius named Reed Richards and promised to one day pilot the spaceship Reed was dreaming of building. After college, Ben joined the military, chasing his dream of becoming a pilot, and even got some experience in the astronaut program, something that would come in handy later. Eventually, Ben reconnected with Reed, who convinced him to help test fly his new spaceship. Ben agreed, though he wasn't shy about his concerns with the ship's shielding. Sure enough, once they were in space, Ben, Reed, and siblings, Sue and Johnny Storm, were hit by the cosmic rays. Ben managed to crash land the ship safely back on Earth, but all four of them came out changed. Ben got the absolute worst of it, transforming into a massive rock-skinned brute, soon known as the Thing. From that moment on, the four of them stuck together, not just as a superhero team, but as a family, the Fantastic Four. The Thing is easily one of the strongest people on the planet, probably second to only the Hulk, probably. Thanks to his unique rocky body, he can lift close to 100 tons, tank extreme heat and cold, and shrug off explosions and energy blasts like they're nothing. His skin is nearly impossible to break, unless you're working with alien tech or magic. And even though he looks like he's made of solid rock, his body is actually flexible enough for him to move around pretty freely. That said, his big rocky fingers make it tough for him to use most machines or controls unless they're specially built for him. Over the years, Ben's looks have changed, from a bumpy, uneven hide to a more defined structure that looks like he's made of linked together stone plates. At one point, he even had the ability to switch back to his human form whenever he wanted, but that power's long gone. Still, after living in his rocky skin for so long, he's come to terms with it. As a pilot, Ben's one of the best out there, and his natural leadership skills, shaped by his time running with a street gang on Yancey Street and serving in the military, make people want to follow him, even if he can be a little grumpy sometimes. He's fiercely loyal and has earned the respect of heroes all around the world. Ben Grimm sees the Fantastic Four as his real family, with Reed Richards being his best friend. They've been tight since their college days, and even though their friendship has been tested more than a few times during their wild adventures, it's held strong. Back in the early days, Ben had a bit of a crush on Sue Storm, but she saw through all the rock and roughness to the kind, loyal guy underneath, and they ended up building a deep sibling-like bond. As for Johnny Storm, him and Ben bicker like crazy, but when it really counts, they absolutely have each other's backs. They're all very much ride or die. The real love of Ben's life, though, is Alicia Masters. She won his heart early on with her kindness, calm spirit, and the way she truly sees people, even though she's blind. Their relationship has had its ups and downs, but they have always found their way back to each other. Not long ago, Ben finally proposed, and the two are now happily married. Across the superhero world, Ben's known as someone you can count on. Loyal, dependable, always ready to step up. He's built strong friendships with big names like Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, and Luke Cage. And somehow, despite his rocky appearance, Ben's had a surprising amount of luck with the ladies, something that tends to leave his friends both impressed and a little confused. As one of the original members of the Fantastic Four, the Thing has faced off against more villains than most heroes. His main nemesis is more than likely probably Doctor Doom, who he first met back in college when Doom was just Victor Von Doom, a brilliant but arrogant scientist and future ruler of Latveria. Every time they cross paths, Ben's ready to throw hands, but Doom tends to underestimate just how tough and determined he really is. Ben's also got a long-running beef with Namor the Submariner, mostly because of Namor's thing for Sue Richards and his not-so-secret hatred of Reed, Ben's best friend. That tension has led to more than a few brawls over the years. Then there's the Yancey Street Gang, basically a bunch of local punks who've kept messing with him ever since he left the neighborhood for college. Every new generation seems to pick up the torch just to mess with him. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people would say Ben's biggest enemy is himself. As the Fantastic Four started to come together under Reed Richards' leadership, Ben Grimm, the Thing, was still trying to figure out where he fit in as this big, rocky monster, as he calls it. Along the way, he got into some classic brawls with the Hulk, teamed up with the Human Torch for all kinds of wild adventures, and went through a bunch of changes in his strength and appearance. Those changes messed with his mood too, making him more prone to anger. He quit the team a few times over small things and even tried to escape his life altogether by hiding out in different time periods or remote places. In those early years, Reed worked hard to find a cure for Ben's condition. Sometimes he came up with a temporary fix for the cosmic radiation, but the only real peace Ben has found was in his relationship with Alicia Masters, the kind, blind sculptor who saw the real him. After a lot of drama with the team and constant battles with enemies from Earth and beyond, Ben took a break and worked as head of security for Project Pegasus, a government research facility. At one point, he finally turned back into his human self for good, or so he thought. When he got frustrated about being left out of the action, Reed built him a special thing-shaped exosuit so he could still join the team. During this time, Reed started to suspect that Ben might actually have the ability to change his forms on his own, but he kept that theory to himself. Eventually, Ben changed back into the Thing and joined his fellow heroes on Battleworld, a strange alien planet created by the Beyonder. While there, he did discover that he could switch between forms at will, and chose to stay behind after the other heroes went home. He explored Battleworld for a while, but when he came back to Earth, he found he couldn't turn into a human anymore. On top of that, he was crushed by what he saw as Reed's betrayal and by Alicia falling for Johnny Storm while he was away. After splitting from the team again, Ben met Sharon Ventura, a powerhouse in her own right, and the two got involved in the wild world of unlimited class wrestling. They even teamed up briefly with the West Coast Avengers. Later, Ben's body mutated once more, and he rejoined the Fantastic Four, this time as the team's leader while Reed and Sue took a break. Sharon, now transformed into She-Thing, fought alongside the team and started a romance with Ben. But eventually, her mental state took a turn, and she ended up clashing with both Ben and the rest of the team. At one point, Dr. Doom upped the stakes and actually took over Ben Grimm's body to go after his nemesis. Things got intense. Everyone thought the Thing had died. Reed and the rest of the team weren't ready to let him go, so they literally went on a journey to find his soul, which led them all the way to heaven, where they met a mysterious being known only as the Creator. With some help from his late brother, Ben was convinced to come back to life, and the Fantastic Four had a heartfelt reunion that brought them even closer as a family. But when they got back to business, they found out that the US government had drained their resources. Suddenly, they were broke and stuck taking on random jobs just to pay the bills. Luckily, Ben came into a surprise fortune with some investments the government hadn't touched. He had a good time blowing through some of it and then turned around and gave a lot away to charity. Even though he didn't like the idea of the Superhuman Registration Act, Ben agreed to help enforce it, putting him at odds with Sue and Johnny. After Captain America surrendered, Ben was so torn up by the whole Civil War between heroes that he took some time off to get his head straight. When he came back, he stepped up as the team leader again, this time with Black Panther and Storm filling in for Reed and Sue. Not long after, the team rescued the real Alicia Masters from the Skrulls, and Ben moved on romantically, starting a serious relationship with a teacher named Debbie Green, especially after learning Alicia just wanted to be friends. Around then, Luke Cage invited Ben to split his time between the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. Things got wild again when Ben got possessed by a mystical hammer during a major event and became Angrier, Breaker of Souls. Once that passed, he was cleared of a murder charge involving Alicia's stepdad, the Puppet Master, and joined the resistance against Hydra when a corrupted Captain America took over the U.S. He even spent time with the Guardians of the Galaxy and S.H.I.E.L.D. During the Secret Wars event, after the multiverse was destroyed and Doom created a patchwork world called Battle World, Ben ended up transforming into a giant living wall called the S.H.I.E.L.D. Eventually, he helped Reed defeat Doom. With Doom's godlike powers, Reed rebuilt the universe but chose to stay behind the scenes with Sue and their kids to restore the multiverse. Meanwhile, Ben and Johnny used a device Reed made, the Multisect, to search for them across different realities. After a long journey, the team finally reunited, kicking off a bold new chapter for the Fantastic Four. So that is Ben Grimm in a nutshell. He's like the loving uncle. He has loving uncle energy in the Fantastic Four, but I feel like at times he's the wise one. I know Reed is the smartest man in the universe, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like the Thing has it together a little bit better. So as always, I have some comics for you to check out to learn more about Ben Grimm that actually are not Fantastic Four comics. So starting off, Startling Stories, The Thing, Hulk and Thing, Hard Knocks, Clobberin Time, Dan Slott's Thing solo series, 2-in-1 annual number 7, Thing Freak Show, Astonishing Tales, The Thing, Walter Mosley and Tom Riley's 2021 The Thing limited series, and John Byrne's solo series of The Thing. So they're all pretty great, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed all of them. So if you have any other comic recommendations, please let me know in the comments because I'm not a professional. I just know what I've read. So with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of these breakdowns, and have a marvelous day.